it best at the battle nostalgia. Yep.
All right, we're on.
Okay. I'm going to talk about Red Orchestra 2 today. Red Orchestra 2 is a first-person combat simulator, I'd say, and it emphasizes realism and tries to portray the brutality of the Battle of Stalingrad. So I'm going to show you, just to kind of introduce it, I'll show you a couple trailers for it. This one's kind of a more humorous one. Oh, hold on, I'm sorry, let me make sure I have sound.
Grandpa, what was it like driving the real T-3476? Grandpa, what was it like shooting the real moisten the gun sniper rifle?
Oh no!
Yes. Well, they're in Russia.
If they do the fire every time,
I
already love the game.
You can plug in if you
I
want.
like that kid with everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Russian emotions for you.
If you
I think it's just that I opened the video so long ago.
oh, okay.
Good.
Oh, I hate YouTube.
You have to disable
Where's the
your
border?
Wi-Fi.
You have to disable Wi-Fi. I mean, I'm not getting anything, you're right, but...
Yeah, I know. I know some German food.
Grandpa! How did you survive the most brutal battle in history?
Oh no!
Oh my god.
I hate this.
Oh, little Tolia. I was not in war. I just played Red Orchestra.
I get it. Game was pretty immersive.
So what I'm playing? Alright, now more, slightly more informative about what the game actually is. Hopefully this one won't die right here. Okay, so more specifically, I'm going to be talking about how I think that the game uses a series of gameplay mechanics to go beyond just creating a balanced, enjoyable online multiplayer experience. They actually use the gameplay mechanics in order to create an experience that is immersive and
actually puts you into the war and the most horrifying battle in history, arguably. So yeah, like I said, it's a World War II combat simulator. Calling it a first-person shooter is almost, doesn't do it justice. It takes absolutely every element of realism totally seriously. And in game design, we often consider that a bad thing, but this game sets out to do it, and I think accomplishes it well. It takes place in the Battle of Stalingrad. The first Red Orchestra was all of the Eastern Front of World War II. This is specifically Stalingrad, which is it's an urban battle, and it was very, very bloody. So all the levels are, all the maps are territory control. Both teams have to just control all the territory in the map. There's like pretty deep team organization and teamwork required. There's squad leaders, and then there's a whole team leader who calls in artillery strikes, who like forces people to respawn quicker. There's tanks. You can actually be a tank driver, and they've had the entire inside of every tank completely laid out with like all the actual functions and all the little things you do this with, and like it puts you in the tank. And yeah, like I say, it takes realism absolutely seriously. When I first bought Red Orchestra 1, I watched like a training video for how to play this game, and in it, the narrator says, "Other games make you feel like you're in a war movie. Red Orchestra makes you feel like you're in the war." I remember that from years ago when I bought it, and it's what stuck with me about this game. It actually sets out to go beyond where most games go and actually put you in the battle. So I think the systems that actually emphasize this are health, death, and respawning, the equipment, ammunition, and how suppression works, the limited classes, and the emphasis on friendly fire. So life and death. This game does not have hit points. That's really rare in many games. Whether you die is determined by where you're shot, what you're shot with, and a whole bunch of other gruesome details. Very specific hit locations. A lot of games have like, you get shot in the chest, it does X damage, you get shot in the head, it's different. This is like heart, like organs, like they really went all out there. So yeah, getting hit can have a variety of effects. You get shot in the head, you just die. If you get shot in the gut, you have a chance to bandage yourself up and you'll be pretty good to go. If you get shot in the legs, you're going to be slowed for the rest of the round. If you actually get shot in the hand, you'll drop your gun and you have to pick it up off the ground.
Are you talking about the single player or the one?
It's all multiplayer.
Oh.
You can play with bots, but it's a multiplayer game.
Oh.
And so dying, it's like a last stand in Call of Duty. Basically, like everyone gets a last stand if they're not shot in like a vital organ. People have like a chance to just stick around for a little while. And, so like the two people shoot each other for a kill thing happens all the time. Respawning. So this game uses a system of respawning that's it doesn't just get you back into the fight. It simulates waves of reinforcements arriving to the front line. I believe it's 25 seconds, everyone on a team spawns at once. And so all the people that have died in that last 25 seconds are all there at once. As a wave, you run to the front and kind of back to lift people up. So that kind of, and you spawn very far back from the front, so it kind of has a dilemma of, we're about to lose this capture point. Do I want to sprint, lose all my energy getting there to back up my friends, or are we just going to concede it and try to get a good foundation at the next capture point? So it kind of creates a decision right off the bat when you respond.
As far as the game design balancing, do you think that creates any issues, like having everybody respawn at once every so often, or at least all the dead players?
I don't know, what kind of issues do you mean? If both sides are just running the same way.
True.
It should be similar. Yeah, like every map is kind of imbalanced. Like there's kind of like maps where this was like, a German slaughter, and they're kind of set up to win.
Okay.
It's all controlled by tickets. You have a number of reinforcements. So if someone's at a disadvantage in terms of positioning, they have more tickets, so they get more troops to throw at the battle.
Would you say it's ever advantageous to kill yourself and respawn with a wave?
No, it's very far back from the front. You have to run quite a ways, so that's not an Weapons. This game takes its weapons to a whole different level. Like the weapons, the way they work, first of all, the animations are totally accurate with reloading and bolting the rifle. It's all totally accurate. Bullets have drop over distance that is, again, accurate to real life. You adjust your sights as you would with a real gun for long distance shots. You put it up to like 200 meters, 300 meters, which raises the sight up. Aim is not locked to the center of the screen. This is gonna be kind of hard to explain. Your gun is just kind of at your side, and as you rotate, the gun moves around the screen. So there's no crosshair. You're actually just pointing on the screen, and you kind of have to look with your eyes and just kind of figure out where the gun's gonna go. But then you can hold it up to your eyes and look at the sights.
Sort of like how Goldeneye did it back in the day. Like there's a dead zone before you actually turn.
Right. Yes. Right. Just like that.
Yeah.
But as you go, it kind of stays on that side, and then when you come back, it kind of goes like that. There'll be a gameplay video. I can kind of point it out better. And all the statistics of the guns are true to life. A lot of games kind of fudge all fire rates and things like that I obsess about. And this game places a very strong emphasis on making those things totally accurate to real life. One feature I find extremely realistic is that you can hold your gun up against a surface. So if you find a flat surface or even a vertical surface and you place your gun parallel to it, you have a little icon in your corner that says you're bracing the gun, and it's perfectly accurate while you're doing that, because in real life you would use anything in your environment to brace the gun. And bipods allow you to do that anywhere. So ammunition is handled in this game in a way I don't think I've ever seen it handled in another game. You actually cannot transfer bullets between magazines. In most games, you have an ammunition pool, and then how much ammo is in your clip. And as long as there's more ammo in your pool, you can just keep shoving ammo into your clip. This game does not work that way. You have a specific number of magazines. If you unload and reload before that magazine has been emptied, it goes at the bottom of your stack, and you're going to load a half-full magazine in it once you've gone through all your other ones. And like I said, I've never seen a game that handled it that way, which is really how guns work, which is really weird that you never ever see that happen. And most players carry machine gun belts, so it's for teamwork, you run up and get your machine gunner or ammo.
Did you play Battlefield 4?
I have not yet.
They did something similar to that initially, but they changed it.
Sorry, what's that?
They made it so that if you didn't spend all your bullets and you reloaded, you would throw away the clip, because I'm assuming they just assumed that.
It was done for a while.
It did?
Yeah.
But they don't
I
have
mean,
it.
they didn't do it in 3.
They don't have it where you
They've
recycle
been
the clip.
doing that for a while. It's like 42.
No, but
Amazing
they
series.
you threw away the clip, you don't
Yeah.
use the bullets,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
lose them.
Okay. I
They
didn't
changed
realize
that going forward, because people complain.
A lot of games still do it. Maybe 6 does it.
Yep. In those, you usually just chuck the clip instead of throwing it at the bottom of your.
And that doesn't make any sense either, because why would you just drop the ammo?
Yeah, it's still there.
This game is about, this Battlestar Galactica is about shortages. Ammo is extremely valuable.
So you feel like it fits the setting as well?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. All this stuff, in addition to benefiting gameplay, fits the setting and kind of creates this atmosphere. Yeah. Oh, so also there's no ammo indicator. You don't know how much ammo is in your clip unless you take it out of the gun and look at it, and it says something like the magazine is half full, or just by weight it says how heavy you think it is. This magazine is almost empty, it'll say. Suppression. So as you might know from Battlefield 3, I think was when they introduced suppression. This game has a similar system to that, only it's far more intense. In Battlefield, for example, when you're getting shot at, your screen kind of turns black and white, kind of as you see here. And it's kind of hard to shoot, right? In this game, it goes one step further. Every time a bullet passes over your head, your aim is actually thrown off in a direction randomly. It makes it extremely difficult to shoot at when you're being shot at. Be extremely difficult to shoot while you're being shot at. And actually gives machine gunners more than just a weapon to unload into people. They actually can keep people's heads down by just shooting over their heads, which simulates the elements of fear and nerves that are absent from pretty much every game.
Since fear and nerves would be variable per person, do they accommodate that in any way?
There is a system that, as the longer you play, the kind of better you get, and it kind of reduces the effect of it, which is really subtle. Like,
Yeah.
I've never noticed it increasing or decreasing.
Okay.
All your statistics, reloading, everything gets slightly better as you play, which I don't think is a good idea. I think they did it because it's a trend,
Yeah.
and they're just doing that these days, but I don't think it fits the game. There are a huge number of classes in this game, from rifleman to assault trooper, squad leader, tank commander for people who need to drive the tanks, anti-tank soldiers who drive shoot big anti-tank rifles. But every one of these classes has a limit to the number that you can have on each team. You can only have a couple guys with submachine guns. You can only have like 2 or 3 machine gunners on a team. This is not only just to balance it, but it also kind of emphasizes the setting. Like, this is actual squad combat. People have roles, and yeah, you can't just say we're gonna have a team full of machine gunners. That doesn't really work. They couldn't afford that, so it doesn't fit with the setting. You need to have class limits. So most of the team on any game is a rifleman. You just have a rifle and grenades. No pistol, nothing. Rifle, grenades, ammo. So yeah, some classes are just better than others. It's not balanced. You would want an elite rifleman who has a semi-auto rifle over a regular rifleman every single time. It's just a better class. But using these class limits, you can balance the teams and make it more true to the setting. Also, some of those classes have unique items, such as the squad leader has a smoke grenade, which is key to offense. So keeping the number of smoke grenades to a very limited number is important. And because of this limited equipment, scavenging is a huge part of the game. Like, when your teammates die, you should walk over them and grab their stuff. If you're a rifleman and you see your machine gunner die next to you, you should go over and grab his machine gun, because it's just a better gun. Also, grenades are extremely powerful in this game, so you should always pick up your friend's grenades who haven't thrown them yet. And I think this also really helps emphasize the setting, just the desperation, the shortage of supplies.
I'm just wondering, you're saying that different classes are just flat out better than others?
Yes.
Do you mean just at certain things in the game, like
No.
a rifleman's better at sniping than an anti-tank rifleman? Or just literally, no matter what they're doing, the anti-tank rifleman will always outclass the rifleman?
Most cases are more differences than advantages, but there are just clearly better options. Like, the assault trooper has a submachine gun and grenades. If you pick the officer, you have submachine gun, grenades, smoke grenades, binoculars, a pistol, but you kind of have the responsibility of not going and getting yourself killed. So it really does more fit the roles. So yes, there is kind of this point at the beginning of every match when people with the fastest internet connections get the good stuff, which is kind of lame, but I think it really helps this game. It improves it rather than hurts it.
How long does it last before you spawn again?
What do you mean when you die?
Like, when you die, you're saying it spawns in waves. How long does it take?
So it's like a 25-second timer that's constantly going, and so if you died when it was at 1, you can spawn in 1 second.
Okay.
If you died when it was at 24, yeah.
Also, when you're talking about the classes, you said that there's like limited, like there's only so many people who can fill this role or that role. Does that work out so that every team basically looks the same, or is there more flexibility?
You mean do the Germans look the same as the Russians on a given map, or does one to the other?
If there's a team of 16, like 2 teams of 16, is it going to be like 5 riflemen, 4
Yeah.
officers?
Every time?
Yeah.
The maps determine that. So no, they're different every time.
Okay.
Some levels don't have vehicles, so you wouldn't get any of the tank people.
What about, like, can Germans have a sniper but the other team can't? Or,
No, there's never. Every team always has one sniper, and that's
Well,
kind of
like-
a funny
like,
one because
are
everyone has
both
to be a
teams
sniper.
parallel to
Sorry?
each other? Like, do both teams
No,
have...
they're not parallel. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
So
oh, okay.
each side has a certain number of each class that they're allowed for that level, and they should be balanced, but they're not going to be the same. They try to make it realistic. The German army in World War II was very machine gun heavy, so they get more machine guns, whereas other armies had more submachine guns, so Russians get a lot more assault people versus machine
So in
guns.
that fairness balancing, it'd definitely be asymmetrical.
Oh, yes. And yeah, so the German weapons in this game are pretty much better. That's kind of a given. So I think they try to balance that out in map design. Friendly fire. So a lot of games have friendly fire in them, but this game kind of takes it to the next level. There's no enemy indicator, or sorry, friendly indicator sitting over their heads. If you're like within 10 yards of them and you've seen them for like 10 seconds, one appears saying their name. But if someone just comes around the corner, there's no indication as to whether they're on your team or not. You need to know your uniforms. You need to know what, a winter uniform looks like, summer, officer, tank driver, all those things. It's usually pretty obvious, but every once in a while you get confused. And there's another scenario. There's like these burning barrels in a lot of different places. And the gray uniforms of the Germans lit by these burning barrels look a hell of a lot like the brown of a Russian uniform. So friendly fire becomes an enormous issue in this game. So often I'll like kill 2 friendlies in a row and then they'll go like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, so sorry. And then like everyone's just like, don't worry about it. Everyone does it. You can't really avoid it. It's really hard to not kill teammates.
Can you steal uniforms?
No.
That would add a
That would add
dynamic.
so much.
Yeah, realism. Right. Okay. So just here's an image saying, this guy's got -4 kills, this guy's got -1, this guy's got -3, just on some random server. So that's just the people who don't have any kills to offset their team kills. Just imagine the actual number of team kills in this game. Also, grenades, like I said earlier, are extremely powerful in this game, and that causes quite a lot of team killing. So, yeah, I'd like to show you some gameplay, but I don't know how to full screen within PowerPoint, so let me just...
I'm sniping as well. Sorry.
Unfortunately, I was doing really terrible because I was playing at like a low resolution to get it on the screen, but never mind.
Sniper.
So as you might imagine, there's a lot of proning in this game. A lot of
It's
crawling,
safer that
proning.
way, right?
Sorry?
Safer that way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I should have taken a shot.
No, it's friendly.
Oh.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, kill them all.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
One mortar shell.
Why are people running in front of the guy with the gun?
Just stick it up.
Yeah, Peter, is that the music in the game?
No, that's
Yes,
not
yes.
in game.
It's called Red Orchestra. I think they couldn't really avoid it. No, I mean, it's very subtle. It kind of adds to the ambiance, I think.
I like how they all scream.
That's what I was trying to show here. Every time you spawn, like, everyone goes, I have it on Russian. I always use native languages, which is always...
Yeah.
It's not by default, which annoys me.
So you say typically you would either try to sprint to get back to where you were, or move to your next location that's more secure and try to hold it.
Right. And there's like I say, suppression is a huge part of that. You get like a machine gunner to start shooting at all the windows so everyone can run. Smoke grenades, it's a huge part of the game. So here's I'm trying to emphasize the suppression. So you see the little suppression meter is all the way at 0. Actually, let me pause it right here because I want to show you a couple things. Here's the thing saying, look, my gun is parallel to this wall. I am bracing it against this wall, so I'm like perfectly accurate. But as you see, if you can look closely, every time an explosion goes off, my aim gets thrown off in a direction right there. And then I'm here being stupid and I walk straight into it. But whatever. Also, here's another example of the suppression. That's not me doing that. That's a machine gun shooting in my direction. You see the gun kind of... that.
Wow.
That's tough.
Oh. Play dead.
Have you played Day of the Fiend?
Yes. And then included this last part as like a. Here's me shooting at a teammate.
Do players actually play dead?
I kind of accidentally did it there. I was really proud of myself.
Because if there's no indicators and there's like slow death and all that.
Yeah, I mean, you saw there where he came around the corner, it wasn't there, and then it popped up after a second.
Yeah.
So
You shot him, and then you were like, "Fuck."
no, I missed him. I missed him.
Oh, no, yeah, but like, you were like,
Good
"Fuck."
thing
That's my way of saying no. And
What were you saying, Doug, about the health?
I was noticing a bar filling up. Was your health recovering at that end?
There's 2 bars. You have stamina, which is obviously like sprinting, and suppression, like how cracked you are.
The bar you saw was suppression.
No.
Right. So, and both of those things have a huge impact on like your aiming and your speed and stuff like that.
And health, you would know because it's affecting your gameplay. You're either moving more slowly or.
Well, it's when you
falling
get
to the
shot,
ground
it's
or-
like really obvious. Like remember, this World War II. Most people are using like a bolt action rifle, so you're just gonna get shot once most of the time. So either you died or you got. Okay, actually, sometimes a little thing appears in the corner that's like a picture of your guy, and it kind of shows where you get shot, and it's like flashing red, and so you kind of know what effect you should be experiencing.
When you bandage, does an animation actually play out?
Yes, I mean this is like not a very high budget game. These people were modders. Red Orchestra was a mod for UDK 2. Then they released it as a game, and this is like the second game they made, maybe third after Killing Floor. Anyway, they don't have a huge amount of resources, so he kind of just does this. I don't know.
Okay.
Something like that.
I was wondering.
It's
I mean,
not
that's still an
excellent.
animation. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
still.
He does something. You put your gun away and you have to do something. That's cool.
All right. So, any other questions for Peter?
If there's not really a huge consequence for, don't give me a look, Ryan. There's Ryan outlets on the 4th floor.
Sorry.
If there's not really a huge like consequence for team killing, and you can, there's such an emphasis on picking up your dead ally stuff, is it a big issue team killing for better stuff?
This is a very hardcore community, and you get banned in seconds. This is like it's dedicated servers. Like,
Okay, but there's nothing in the game that
no, there's nothing in the game that
Oh,
says you
okay.
can't do that. I'm telling you, like every one of the servers that actually has people on them still. Remember, this is a very small multiplayer game. In those cases, there's like 12 servers that actually have people on them at any given time, and it's because they ban those people.
You have tickets, don't you? Like resource tickets.
Right, but why would you personally not shoot your teammate? Yes, you could say like, oh no, you don't want to like make your team lose another ticket, but hey, I really wanted that gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, there's a lot of these mechanics you really need to buy into in this game. Like, it's kind of a big part of the game. If you go into it just thinking it's a shooter, you're going to be disappointed. And a lot of people do. They're like, why? A lot of people don't get kills when they play this game. They just don't know what to do at all. They just went out to the open and get shot.
Yeah, actually, jumping off of that point, what's your opinion on it? Because you talked about how this game goes for like the hyper realistic, like exactly how it was. How do you feel this game does on walking that fine line between like a game and trying to have you relive the experience? Because I feel like there's a certain amount of things sometimes you want to sacrifice in the name of good gameplay.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because for me, this game is like, it's an experience. It's not just something I sit down to have fun with. It's something that I like, it's a journey. I can't really do it for more than like 2 hours. It's like heavy on the soul. There are the people who do play seem to be very enthusiastic about it and kind of stick to it, and you see the same people. But no, for me, I can't really. I just love playing it for short stretches and just getting that feeling of like, you're pathetic. You're just, no, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but you do kind of feel like a cog in a machine rather than just like another jerk online trying to get kills.
Is there anything you would change in order to maybe make the gameplay more accessible? If you had a
actually, what I'd do, I'm sorry, I can't do it. So what they actually did for this exact reason was they introduced arcade mode, regular mode. It's just Call of Duty. You got a crosshair, you have health, and like, okay, you don't have health, but it's like you have a crosshair, it's locked in the middle of the screen, you just kind of aim and shoot. It's
so kind of Call of Duty mode almost.
Kind of Call of Duty mode. Yeah.
What about going the other way?
Sorry?
What about going the other way? Are there things that you think they could take away to make more realistic that would still make the game playable and fun? Or keep
I
it from
could be
being
nitty
too-
gritty about how like some of the technology was, invented a year later, but I don't want to give them crap about that. Because like they certainly know that stuff, and they did it for a good reason. I generally think if you're going to depart from realism, you should have a good reason for it, and I'm sure they did, and for all, especially in this game, they had a great reason to do it for all their decisions here. More realistic? Off the top of my head, it's yeah, maybe the way like movement works is really kind of broken, but that's more just technology. There used to be a, I don't want to like get on the floor and demonstrate this, but you can't prone into walls.
Yeah.
Like you can't get your legs into walls, which creates a lot of weird issues.
Yeah.
Like, if you're in a trench this wide, you can't turn around on the ground.
Yeah, that's the same thing in Battlefield.
Battlefield 3, it was not the case. I specifically remember shooting people through walls because their legs were sticking out. I got into an argument with this about this.
You can't do it, but yeah, that happens.
I mean, like until we have
like there is collision with your feet, and you're like stuck. You're like, what the hell? And
Sometimes you like
crouch.
pop up in games too.
Yeah,
like, you'll
yeah.
pop up and then fall back down.
No,
Yeah.
Call of
Yeah.
Duty actually does it this way, but they just do it way better.
They do?
In Call of Duty, you can't like it says prone block.
Oh yeah.
And then it was once in the old ones.
In
That was there.
Modern Warfare 2 is the last one I tried that did it.
I don't remember that.
No, it does.
You're probably
the
right.
game Arma.
Yes, I have. I've not played it.
I have not played it, but I remember it boasting like being like the most realistic shooter or modern shooter ever, or something like that.
It's hard.
There was a military buff who went here as a game designer a few years back, and Red Orchestra and Arma 2 were like his two favorite games, and I think he considered them on the same level.
With modern, it doesn't make any sense to me because that those kinds of fight battles just don't happen.
Yeah.
If it were fair, bigger weapons would be used. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Here, it's like this is kind of actually how it happened. Yes, there's like airplanes that aren't really in the mix, but it's kind of like the whole scale. The maps are huge. There's 64-player servers, and with people spawning that quick, it kind of does feel like you're on a big scale battle from World War II.
So what would you say the primary duties for a designer would be on a title like this?
Probably not getting carried away with realism. I mean, to some extent getting carried away with it, but there's a very fine line, and I think they do a good job of dancing along it and not ever going to like the realm of like, oh come on, that's just not fun. I think all of the, just for an example, all of the little effects that happen when you get shot, like slowing down, they're all temporary. I think you get back to full speed after like 30 seconds. And I think that is to kind of make it so people don't just kill themselves to respawn. Things like that. I think they did a good job with, let's say, not dancing that line.
Okay. Any other questions?
Anyone want to try to play it? I mean,
Yes.
it's like a multiplayer game. It's going to take like 10 minutes to get you in a good server.
Or you could do bots. Did you say there's bots?
You can do bots.
I don't know.
You have to play it there.
Oh,
You want to get to this. I don't have a monitor anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we should probably just end it there.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
How does the game hold up when you go to bots? Does it?